Hello and welcome to my channel, Becoming Bev. In today's video, we're going to talk about rainy days in the van. It's bound to happen sooner or later, no matter how much you chase good weather. And today is one of those days. I'm in southeast Missouri. The temperature started at about 62 degrees here today, and it's going to drop 40 degrees tonight. One of the cool things about van life is you do get out more. You go hiking more, you go walking more, you go out exploring more. But on a day like today, not an option. So I'll share with you how I'm going to spend my rainy day in the van. Today I'm going to take advantage of the time to get this video done, so record the video and get it edited and uploaded. So that's one thing. And then also I watched a really interesting video this morning talking about our interstates. I'll share with you some information that I learned, and some of you may already know this, but I didn't, and I found it fascinating. And then also I signed up to take a dive course. The first part of it's online, so I'll get that started today. And then at some point I'll have to find a dive school that actually does the certification to finish that up. I love learning new things, so I'll take advantage of the time today to get that started. And then at some point today, I'll drive into town. The nearest town is about 15 miles where there's a gym I can get a workout in. I've set some fitness goals for myself for my next birthday coming up. It's a big one. I'll be 60 years old, and I want to make sure I get some movement and some activity in today and not just spend the entire day sitting still. And that should be a pretty full day. You know, actually sometimes it's nice to have a down day. It's nice to just have a day where you can kick back and do some of the things that I'm going to get done today. So here's what I learned about the interstates. So basically there are interstates that end in 0, and then there are interstates that end in 5s. So the ones that end in 0 run east to west, like I-10, I-20, all the way down to I-90. And the lower the number is, the further south it is. So I-10 runs from Jacksonville, Florida to Santa Monica, California. I-90 runs from Boston to Seattle. And then the interstates that end in 5 run north to south. And the lower the number, the further west it is. So I-5 is in California and I-95 is on the East Coast. And all of these are interstates. So these highways run through states, with one exception, which is I-45, which runs between Houston and Dallas. So it's not really an interstate, it's more of an intrastate. It just stays right there in Texas. And then the ones that have 3 digits contain the last 2 digits of the interstate that it bypasses. So for instance, 635 in Houston bypasses Interstate 35. Those are called interstate minors. Basically, they diverge from a major interstate, and if they reconnect with that interstate, the first number is an even number, like 635. So 635 diverges from 35 and then reconnects with it again. And then if it has an odd number, it's considered a spur. So that would be one that doesn't reconnect with the interstate that it diverges from. I found it interesting that there is no Interstate 50 or 60 going across the United States, but we do have Route 66 in the middle. So anyway, I thought that was some cool information. If the interstate ends in a 0, it's running horizontally across the US, and if it ends in a 5, it's running vertically across the US. Some of you may already know this, but I found it new information and found it kind of interesting. I also have some reading that I want to catch up on, so I'll do that today. And basically that's it. Doing my dive school, getting caught up on some reading, maybe watching some YouTube videos, and getting a workout in. So some of you know that I have this stuffed lizard that I keep in the van, and I call him Lenny the Lizard. And Lenny has been in every vehicle with me since 1997. I got him when my sister turned 21, and I put him in the back dash of the car that I was driving to remind me of what a fun time I had with my sister. Lenny rides on the dash of the van now, but he doesn't get a lot of camera time. So today I gave Brad a little break and I let Lenny have some camera time today. I mentioned in one of my last videos that I was going to be interviewed by Access Daily, which is like Access Hollywood, only the daytime edition with Mario and Kit. So I'm going to include the little snippet from that interview. Now, first of all, they wanted to focus on dating on the road because it was a Valentine's show. So that's why they asked me so many questions about that. But it was a fun interview, and I just wanted to share it with you guys.
Coming up, guys, how this empty nester's living out her dreams on the road in a van, searching for love. Wait till you hear her story. Coming up next.
The storage that I can reach inside the van are for my clothes. I keep it organized with everything labeled and in packing cubes. When you're in such a small space, organization is really, really important. So back here, this is my shower setup. It works with a little shower nozzle that I hook into right here and just press the electric pump. I put this hose down in a bucket and then strap my shower curtain across the doors here, so I've got an outdoor shower. And this is all my shower gear right here.
She's awesome. Right? That is single mom and empty nester Bev Brown. She decided one day to change up her life, move into a van, and explore the country and the possibility of finding love.
That's what I'm talking about. Please welcome Bev Brown to the show.
Bev Brown.
Bev, this is so cool. First of all, who outfitted your van? I'm just curious. How did you get that hooked up?
Yeah, well, the van has kind of been a work in progress. So when I first got the van, I took it out for a couple of short trips and immediately realized I would need some upgrades. So I've had a couple of different people work on it, and then I've done some of the work myself too.
Tell everybody the name of your van.
My van's name is Jennifer Vaniston.
That's great.
Yeah, I refer to her as Jennifer, and it's like sometimes someone will need something and I'll be like, oh, I think Jennifer has that, you know? So I just go borrow things from Jennifer.
That's so funny. So when did you and Jennifer decide to take this leap of faith and hit the road?
Yeah, we've been on the road for about 14 months now. I was a single mom. I had my daughter when I was 18 years old and got married later on, but you just get busy with life. And, you know, I built a business and raised my daughter and all that kind of stuff. But I had always had this dream in the back of my mind for traveling. And so I got divorced about 6 years ago, and I created this crazy bucket list with 100 things on it. So I started traveling around the world, checking things off my bucket list, and then COVID hit and I got grounded. So the van is a way for me to still travel, see all the beautiful things in the US, and feel safe.
Here's the cool thing. Not only are you on this road trip, but you're looking for love while doing it. How does that work?
Well, it's a bit of a challenge. So first of all, the whole COVID thing put a damper on dating. And then when you add in the nomadic lifestyle, it's a bit of a challenge, but I've managed to work out a few things.
Good for you. I bet you have. You look like you're having a good time there. Are you using dating apps, or are you just kind of meeting people as you travel?
You know, both. It's like if I'm going to be in a place for a week or two or longer, then I'll jump on Bumble or Hinge, you know, or one of the dating apps like that. I've met some really cool people and got to do some fun things like, you know, hiking down to waterfalls or rafting down the river, or, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, sitting around the campfire at night. And then sometimes it's just normal dating things like dinner or coffee or something like that.
Bev, let's talk nuts and bolts. What state have you found the most success in with dating? Asking for friends.
Well, I would say 2 states, Florida and Texas, but mostly because that's where I've spent the most time.
That's awesome. And the less restrictions in both of those states as well. Let me ask you a somewhat serious question, Bev. I mean, you're a young lady traveling by yourself. Were there any concerns as far as safety?
That is the one question that I get asked the most. And I have never been afraid in my van. I feel just as safe in the van as I do in a house. I, you know, go in there at night, I lock the doors, and I feel totally comfortable and totally safe. And kind of as a bonus,
you know, if something were to happen, I could just climb up in the front and drive away.
Yeah, it's so cozy in there. You document this all on your YouTube channel. What's the response been, Bev?
Well, I named my YouTube channel Becoming Bev, and partly because I felt like this is finally the life that I'm supposed to live. Like I get to be me finally. And the response, it's kind of a mixed response. Some people are like, oh, I could never do that. And then sometimes they're like learning from me because I talk about, you know, the how-tos on my YouTube channel. And then sometimes they just kind of live vicariously through me.
It's very, very inspiring and very impressive that you're able to pull this off. Are you retired? Do you continue to have a job or?
Yeah, well, I'm very proud of how I've set my life up. I owned a day spa for 26 years, and I have a manager in place that runs that. So I have a steady revenue stream from that.
Look at you.
And then right before COVID hit, I partnered with my daughter and we bought a campground in Missouri called Fred Rock. And she property manages the campground, so I still get to, you know, be in the van and run around the country.
Bev's out here delegating and
Bev's
having her money work for her. Get that money working for you, Bev.
Now, Bev, you're not in Jennifer Aniston right now, so where are you?
No, I'm not in Jennifer Aniston right now. So I was in the van in Indiana and I met this couple, Aaron and Julie.
Oh.
And, you know, we kind of hit it off and they're like, well, we have a group of friends going to Cancun, Mexico in February. Do you want to go with us? And I said, sure, I'll go. So I just ditched the colder weather in Houston for this gorgeous weather in Mexico. And I happened to run into Mexican Aquaman while I was
Hey, look at you, Bev.
Living the dream, Bev.
Bev, I like his shorts.
I like his socks and shoes. Winter looks good on you, Bev.
I like the...
Bev, that is fantastic. You make sure to have a lot of margaritas for us down there, Bev.
Toast to Bev, everybody.
Yes, salute, Bev.
Way to live your best life, Bev.
I love that.
For more of Bev's adventures, guys, you can visit her YouTube channel. That's awesome.
She is awesome.
So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here on the journey with me. You keep watching and I'll keep posting content.